Hello, welcome back to the Post Football Podcast. Joining me today, I've got Daniel Harrington all the way from Quebec in Canada, and Elliot Heath, who joins me in Sydney. How are you guys?
Not bad. How are you, Jeremy?
I'm good. I'm good. Feeling decent after a 14K run. I had my post-run smoothie as well, so feeling good. Daniel?
All good, mate. All good. Just been getting settled back into Canada now, so yeah, enjoying it.
Sounds good. I guess we'll dive straight into the topics we'll cover today on the podcast. We're going to cover the Messi situation, all sorts of issues with his contract at Barcelona. Donny van de Beek signing for Manchester United. I'm sure Daniel will be happy with that one. We'll look at the Chelsea transfer situation with Kepa. What that situation is as well. We'll look at the Community Shield. Obviously, Arsenal beating Liverpool 5-4 on penalties, and then just a few other transfer rumours here and there. So we'll start with the Community Shield then. Arsenal coming out on top with that one. It's really a glorified friendly though, isn't it?
I mean, of course you're going to say that when you haven't won it, but
Hey,
If we
Klopp
was-
said it's the hardest trophy to win.
Yes.
I think if we were sitting here and Liverpool had have won it, and we said to Jeremy, "Oh, it's a glorified friendly, no one really cares," Jeremy would go, "Oh, but it's a trophy."
That's
Yeah.
true.
So I think you got to give credit to Arsenal for winning it.
That's true. I think you can say if you win it, you can say, "Oh, we won a trophy, like our first trophy of the season." But if you lose, you just glorified friendly. Doesn't really matter. But thoughts on the game? Liverpool in the first half were quite disappointing. Second half, we bring on Keita and Minamino, who changed the dynamic a bit, which brought more energy, a bit more spark to the game, especially in midfield. But yeah, it wasn't the greatest of games from Liverpool, to be honest. It was funny that we brought Wijnaldum off and put Brewster on. So Wijnaldum missed a penalty in last year's Community Shield against City, and then Brewster sort of, you think, maybe brought on to score a penalty. He misses his. So, yeah, do you guys have any thoughts on the game at all?
I mean, I think when teams were looking at the actual trophy itself, they probably were just thinking this more as a preseason game anyway. So, glorified friendlies probably it's probably correct. And you're trying to figure out some different tactics maybe going into the new season. I think maybe Arsenal were just a bit fresher, you could argue, having played that FA Cup final. Maybe mentally they were still a bit riding that wave, and it helped them get through to the end there. But yeah, I think from Liverpool's perspective, maybe a bit disappointing considering it is Arsenal. But yeah, when you got a finisher like Aubameyang and he does that, you're gonna get punished.
Yeah, no, exactly. Aubameyang, yeah, that was a fantastic finish past Alisson. I don't know whether he was a bit unsighted or not, but yeah, I don't think there was any stopping that goal. It was good to see Minamino get his first goal for the club. I think that'll give him a much-needed boost of confidence going into the season. Yeah, Liverpool, I think they just looked a bit tired as well, maybe a bit mentally tired as well. We just had that, obviously, the 2-week training in Austria. I don't know whether that was one thing playing in their minds or maybe they were a bit tired from that. But yeah, I mean, usually we have the Community Shield and then next week the Premier League starting, but I guess we have to wait another week for the international break. So it's
I
not
think,
really.
encouraging signs for Arsenal. I think it was a very strong Liverpool side that they put out. Obviously, they weren't mucking around. They obviously still wanted to win the trophy because at the end of the day, it is a trophy, whether it's a bit, it is a bit like a glorified friendly, but you still want to win it if you have the opportunity to win it. And I think for Arsenal to match it and, in a Premier League game that's a draw against Liverpool, I think they'd definitely take that. And then to beat them on pens, I think it's something that's probably important for Arsenal because they've matched it against that side now where they haven't really. I know they beat them in the Premier League last year, but traditionally over the last few years they've been dominated by Liverpool. So I think for them and their own confidence, it was an important win for them. And heading into the season, I think it's encouraging.
Yeah, I think for Arsenal mainly though, with all these wins that do come on, like beating Liverpool and stuff like that, what really will be the test is the smaller, sometimes seasons United have similar, where we've beaten the big teams, but we struggled against the smaller teams. So it'd just be to see Arsenal
definitely.
maybe continue that strategy against the top six, but how they fare against the lower league sides, that's really going to be the defining factor for their season, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Well said. I think also Liverpool play Arsenal. I think it's the second or third game of the season, so getting that psychological edge could be a factor maybe too. Yeah. Also, last time we played Arsenal in the league, we lost at the Emirates. So they have been, as you said, playing well against the big teams. We've seen them sort of set up a bit more defensively, not like they usually would, and historically in the last over the last few seasons. So it's definitely something to build upon for them. But yeah, as Daniel said, they need to address, becoming more consistent in beating those smaller, so-called smaller teams, Premier League.
And on the flip side, I think it's a bit disappointing for Liverpool, and maybe not cause for concern yet, but I think they definitely want to be a bit more on come the 12th of September and the first day of the season. I think, you don't want to drop points early because you're not quite on, and I think the back end of last season and then the loss to Arsenal as well, they haven't been playing the same football they did in that first 3/4 of the season last season. So I think a little bit, I wouldn't be concerned about Liverpool yet, but I would be a little bit nervous, with the upcoming season.
Yeah. I mean, as a Liverpool supporter, maybe like not too overly worried, but there's a slight bit of worriness, I guess, in me. But I guess the back end of the season after the COVID, when the season restarts, Liverpool not up to their best, but I guess after we won the league, there's sort of that psychological thing in the players' mind that they sort of maybe subconsciously switch off a bit. I know Jurgen Klopp came out and said we still want to, go after every game. I think we were after the points record as well in the Premier League, but I guess we can forgive the players for sort of not performing up to scratch.
Definitely. That's why I think you sort of have to wait to make a judgment till you see them play against Leeds on opening day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you definitely don't want to get behind and have to play catch up to City.
No, and we saw, early on last season, Liverpool got ahead quickly of City, and then it just kept snowballing on from there, and City couldn't catch up. So, yeah, it's definitely important to get a strong start to the season, and I don't think it's cause for concern quite yet for Liverpool. Everyone panicking already. I think there's some lunatics out there. We've just won the league title and we're already panicking. But I was hoping that, I guess we'll talk a bit more about Liverpool in the upcoming season. Now that we're on the topic, we signed Tsimikas back up left back. Is what we needed for Andy Robertson. I was hoping we'd make a few more signings. We still could. Hopefully the Thiago deal goes through. But do you guys think that Liverpool need to necessarily add more to their squad to win the title again this season?
I don't think necessarily. I think maybe you'd be looking at a couple of upgrades. I think you and I talked about this before. I guess you would call it greedy in some sense, where you're switching out Wijnaldum for Thiago. It's not necessarily a necessity, but a welcome change, I would say. It's a squad that works. If it isn't broken, don't fix it, in the sort of sense. But if you can add that additional quality like United used to do when they were winning the leagues, I think, why not?
Yeah. No, exactly. And I think that, as you mentioned, it's not a necessity. Sorry. But yeah, it's not like Liverpool have lost quality going into next season. I mean, we lost Lana and Lovren, but then again, we have Curtis Jones coming up through the ranks, Ryan Brewster coming back from his loan, although he may go out on loan again. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we have any more activity in the transfer market. But
I don't think you definitely can win the Premier League again with the squad you have. I mean, you just dominated the league this year, so it'd be silly to think you can't. But as a Liverpool fan, yeah, you're right. I would probably say I would have, if I was a Liverpool fan, I would have liked a couple more signings, maybe a better backup in my front three, because I think if Mane or Salah get a significant injury, who's stepping up in that position that's going to do a good enough job. I don't know if Minamino or I know
Shaqiri.
Origi. I'm not. Has Origi played on the wings a bit? I think he's played on the wings a bit, hasn't he?
Comes on. He's played more left wing than he has striker actually recently. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe he could do a job there, but I don't think Minamino is really someone who you want that would be really that's good enough to fill that void, in my opinion. I feel like you'd want someone a bit stronger as a backup.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, Minamino hasn't exactly shown his talents just yet. I think we'll give him a bit more time. But there was talks of Ismail Sarr coming in from Watford, but I would have liked to seen that. I don't think that'll happen. But
I
yeah, I
think
guess.
that would be a great signing. Yeah,
Yeah, no, it'd be
definitely
perfect.
a quality backup.
Buendia from Norwich as well is available.
Yeah, no, exactly. And he would be, yeah, those sort of players would be a bit more on the, well, cheaper side, I guess, because they've been relegated as well. But
Premier League proven.
yeah, true. That's true as well.
Wasn't there talks of Real Madrid being interested in Mane?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For the last couple of seasons, there has. I don't see that happening. But
Unless they come in with a massive offer. Even now, you wouldn't really want to be changing anything, but this close to the season, if I'm Liverpool.
no, yeah, definitely not. Mane's
I wouldn't put it past Mane eventually leaving for Real Madrid because I mean they have just won the league and you'd be thinking out of all the teams in Spain they're on the up.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
If he wants to branch out and win a league elsewhere, I feel like that's a good place to be at the moment. Just quickly off topic, is Sarr in the Championship? That's a dangerous sight.
Yeah, no, it's
If he
definitely.
does stay at Watford, that is, wow.
They're doing a good job to keep him at the club. But yeah, I guess with Liverpool, I've been lucky with injuries in terms of the front three as well. The last couple of seasons, we haven't seen any major injuries, touch wood. But yeah, I think definitely some backup there would be nice. I mean, we have Xherdan Shaqiri as well, but he's sort of been out of favour in recent times. Also, I think he's picked up another injury in pre-season as well. So is Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. So definitely be nice to have a few more additions to the squad. But yeah, I guess we'll move on to the next topic for today then. Enough Liverpool talk. I'm sure you guys have had enough as well. But we can go to the Messi contract situation. You guys up for that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Cool. So just yeah, who do we think he could go to? I guess Man City is the most comfortable fit.
City. If he's going anywhere, it's City at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's going anywhere. I think it's bollocks, really. He's got a contract. He has to stay. He's not going to get out of that contract. The contractual date was June 10th for him to say whatever, for him to be able to be let go for free. And we're coming up to 3 months past that now. He's not going to be able to somehow, even with the best lawyer, how's he going to get out of that? You know what I mean? That's what the contractual date was.
Yeah.
And I think if he's on contract, then Man City aren't paying 600 million or whatever they asked for him because, they've just had FFP.
Even
They're
200.
being scrutinised heavily. Like, there's no way any club's paying for that, let alone City.
I think what he's trying to argue though is June 10th was supposed to be the end of the season, and they're saying because of COVID, the end of the season should therefore be pushed back.
I understand that, but the contract doesn't say if global pandemic occurs, you can have 3 months extra. You know what I mean? That date was set whether or not there was a pandemic or not. So I think he's going to stay, and then it's up to him whether he boycotts playing or boycotts training or to try and force out a move, and then that becomes very interesting if that happens because he's a legend.
I don't think he'll boycott. I think he'll be professional about it, but I think it will be known straight from the beginning of the season, like this is it for Messi. He's gone after this.
Yeah, he's already his medical, and he wasn't there for the first preseason training. So
yeah, I understand that, but there's nothing he can do unless he's let go or he's sold, and I don't think either of that's happening.
Excuse the pun, but it is a very messy situation. But
shocking. Yes, it is a very messy situation, but
there's a lot to discuss with it, and I guess he's contracted as the date mentioned, June 10th. It's just question posed as why he didn't say earlier, I want to leave, so then he can actually go for free. But
because he was obviously waiting to see how they went in the Champions League, and then
yeah, well,
he's not happy being embarrassed 8-2, and now he wants to all of a sudden leave.
Yeah,
Well,
it's going to be interesting to see, how it pans out. No one's going to pay the 700 million, but then again, if Messi, you don't want a player who is not going to, he doesn't want to play for the club anymore. Do you really want him sticking around and being, bad blood between him and the board still? He's not going to have his heart in it. So maybe Barcelona, they do accept it.
That's right, but it's a tough one because you've got to weigh up that and then giving Lionel Messi to Man City, who then become favourites to win the Champions League against Barcelona. Like, you know what I mean? They're a direct rival in a Champions League.
yeah.
So do you let Messi go and then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a tough
Someone
decision.
someone else is pointing out you sell Messi for that amount of money and you give him away, like you said, but then also how many fans leave when Messi leaves.
Exactly. It's a massive deal.
It's a money thing as well,
Yeah, no, definitely. I think there was a photo of like the supporters waiting outside the training ground of Barcelona for all the players to come through for their first training session. It was this little boy wearing his number 10 Messi jersey, and Messi never came through. It's just a sad sight, really, for the greatest of all time, in my opinion. I think you two may have a different say on that, but
I'd like to see him play in the Premier League, to be honest. I want him to come. I don't think he will, and that's why I was being realistic there in my thoughts in that he's going to be at Barcelona this season no matter what. But I would love to see him come and play for City, to be honest.
I mean,
I'd love to see what he could do in the Premier League, because if he doesn't do so well, all of a sudden Ronaldo is the man. You know what I mean? Because he's done it everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if Messi comes next season or this season, I would be worried if I was a Liverpool fan about retaining that Premier League.
I definitely would be worried. I think I was actually watching something the other day, and they were saying that with Kevin De Bruyne playing behind Messi, they genuinely think he could be 40 plus goals.
It would be scary.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, you see his record against the top six, and he's only ever played against them in the Champions League. Imagine he's playing week in, week out.
Oh yeah, I definitely think people were questioning is he going to be able to do it in Premier League, and that famous thing, can Messi?
But you never know until he comes over, which is why I want to see him come over and see how he goes. I'd be very interested.
I think he'll be more than fine in the Premier. I think he'll be top quality in the Premier League. And people were saying, if Messi goes to Man City, how will that affect De Bruyne's gameplay? Will that alter it a bit? I was like, that'll enhance it, if anything.
30
I can't see how that would alter it. Messi doesn't come and all of a sudden change the formation.
No,
Messi will either play. If Aguero's still injured, Messi will play striker, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, talking about Man City as well, if they want to get Messi, there was talks of almost swapping 3 players out. There was Gabriel Jesus, Bernardo Silva, and I think Eric Garcia would go to Barcelona, and then Messi goes to Man City. I mean, that is a massive deal as well, losing 3 important squad players for Man City.
I probably wouldn't do that if I was.
I mean, I think the biggest loss there is Bernardo Silva. To me, I'm not in love with Gabriel Jesus as a replacement for Aguero.
I do like Bernardo Silva though.
Yeah. So, but it is Messi. So swapping Bernardo Silva for Messi, I'm like, okay, sure.
Who is their front 3 if Messi comes in and Bernardo Silva leaves? Aguero up front, barring he's fit, and Messi on the right.
I guess
Sterling, yeah.
Sterling and Mahrez is there as well. But yeah, they did just get rid of Sane. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it could be like Sterling left, Messi down the middle while Aguero's injured, and then Mahrez out on the right. It's still quite threatening,
I still think Bernardo Silva is a pretty important player in that squad. He's so versatile. He can play on the wing, play in the centre midfield. So I think he's someone they'd like to hold on to.
No, definitely. It would be a big loss for them. And also, they'd have an aging, sort of aging front line as well with Messi, obviously 33, and then Aguero in his early 30s as well. And then would you want to sell Jesus, who's supposed to be your Aguero replacement?
But maybe City are saying, okay, well, now that we want Phil Foden to come in, maybe Bernardo Silva is expendable if we want Phil Foden to reach his potential. You know, you got
True.
Rodri sitting
Maybe.
behind with Kevin De Bruyne and Phil Foden.
But is Kevin De Bruyne going to want to drop? Is he going to want to play centre mid? I think Kevin De Bruyne is going to want to be the man that's in cam.
Oh yeah, of course.
So I can't see Phil Foden being in that team if Kevin De Bruyne's playing cam or even in the team.
Not if you sign Messi. He's definitely on the bench, I reckon, Phil Foden for another season.
But Foden is apparently the best player Guardiola's ever coached. Or whatever.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a whole lot from Foden from what we've heard, been told. I don't think he's lived up to what
Well, yeah, he needs
he's
a
touted to be. I know he's still young, and I don't think he should have stayed at City for these years. I think he should have gone out on loan.
No, you look at all the players who have come through in other big teams and are actually getting minutes, like Greenwood, Saka, Martinelli. All those players. And you thinking, well, Foden's supposed to be a much better player than all of them, and yet like Greenwood's
Exactly.
got more goals than Foden's actually played games.
And these players are, Foden's been around for 3 years now. These players are just players that have burst onto the scene, really.
Yeah.
Mason Greenwood's still, 18, 19? I don't know how he is. He's one of those.
Yeah, well, we've seen...
If for me, for the past 2 years, if I was Foden, I would have been going to a club like, let's say, Everton or West Ham or one of those mid-table clubs where he's going to... I just use that as an example. You know what I mean? One of those clubs where he's going to be guaranteed minutes and still playing Premier League football.
No, exactly. Well, we've seen it with the likes of Jadon Sancho having to go overseas to Dortmund to get his playing time, and he was at Man City as well. Kevin De Bruyne leaving Chelsea, Salah leaving Chelsea, Lukaku leaving Chelsea. It's a sort of ongoing theme with that for those types of players. So maybe it's something that he'll have to consider if he wants to fulfill that potential that everyone's been talking about.
Definitely, yeah.
Yep.
But
Messi, the contract situation still going on.
Let's just end this with where you think he's playing next year, this season. Does he stay at Barca? My opinion, he's staying at Barca.
Central Coast Mariners.
He's playing for Borden Town FC.
You're saying Bolt and Messi in the same team, imagine.
Oh, I mean.
Did you say
play football?
See?
I said Borden Town FC, but I mean, but it's possible that he's not playing football at all next season. I don't know, but yeah, I tend to say right now, looking at it, probably still Barca. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say Barca still. Maybe he does a Michael Jordan and goes plays baseball for 2 years, comes back and three championships. But
maybe.
Yeah, we'll move on to the next topic. There, we got a bit sidetracked with a bit of Phil Foden. That's all right. Donny van de Beek has signed for Manchester United 40 million euros or sterling. I'm getting my currency wrong here. Not quite sure what it was.
Has he signed?
I think so. Wasn't it confirmed? Or it should be confirmed.
It hasn't been announced yet, but it's basically a done deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Well, yeah, it's going to happen. And, well, famous last words, but it should happen. It looks it's going to be a good signing for United. They're on the way up. And I think, he'll add more dynamic to that midfield. Some of his highlights, he's a box-to-box midfielder. He's very much like a Lampard sort of player, gets in all the right attacking positions as a midfielder. So, I think he'll complement Pogba, Fernandes very well. Daniel, as a United supporter, what's your take?
Well, I mean, I think it's safe to assume he's better than Lingard and Pereira. So it's a welcome addition. And another interesting note is he's won the most penalties in the Eredivisie since 2018.
Can't win any more penalties, surely.
Yeah, I saw all the memes about Bruno Fernandes. It's like licking his lips when he hears Donny van de Beek has won the most penalties in the Dutch league. Is he more of a attacking midfielder or?
He's more central, I think.
A central, because if you're playing a three-man midfield with Pogba, Fernandes, Van der Beek, is Pogba going to be the deepest, or what do you think?
I don't know, because Pogba does tend to come quite deep to sort of transition from defense to attack. You do see that a lot. So, yeah, probably Pogba would be the deepest, but I
So I'm
would expect
assuming you
Van de
don't
Beek.
want to stick with Manic this season as a starter.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, like obviously he had a good finish to the season. There, he was part of the team that won most of the games. So it's unlucky if he does get dropped. But yeah, you'd have to be looking at starting some fresher players for sure. But he should still be expected to come back and do a bit of the defensive work. Even Bruno Fernandes does it, so should be all right. But Matic good to have off the bench for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the talk of the town was that in the bigger games you maybe look to play Matic or McTominay or someone who's going to hold midfield more. But in the sort of when you play the lesser teams, especially at home when you're going to have most of the possession, 70% of the possession.
Oh yeah,
that's when you can play your Pogbas, your Van der Beeks and Fernandes together. Because I think I don't know if I'm wrong in saying this, but Fernandes also likes to drop a bit deep to pick up the ball and then create there as well. And then Van der Beek gets into his attacking positions. I think I heard something about he has almost like 3 or 4 scoring opportunities per game, or he's like he gets into maybe not per game, but he gets into his attacking positions, goal scoring opportunities. So it's something that we haven't necessarily seen in a while in the Premier League, and like a proper goal scoring midfielder since your Gerrards, your Lampards. So
I guess the only thing I will say from a United perspective is we've never really had this issue before since probably Fergie, where we have a lot of options in midfield, and we've been missing those days of your Scholes, your Carrick, your Hargreaves, your Ji-Sung Parks. That was a good problem to have, and now we're sort of, since we've been crying out for it for so long, it's actually nice to have that problem again.
Yeah, well, it could be even more if Thiago is signed up as well. Man United have been rumoured to hijack Liverpool's deal, but
I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah,
you'd almost have an overload there if Thiago signed.
Yeah, exactly.
Got Fred as well, who had a good season.
Fred McTominay even. Was he injured last season?
McTominay, yeah, he was for a bit, yeah.
Because I remember about a year ago he was the next big thing.
Yeah,
he's still good. He's still got potential, and as far as defensive midfielders go, I'd be happy to have him in the squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he'd be definitely a great squad player for Man United. He's not necessarily going to be Roy Keane, but
I think he was a big thing because he was Scottish, and they don't really have a lot of good players up there. So they were like, oh yeah, look at this guy.
Yeah,
him and Gilmore.
And Andy Robertson as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Big Rob Snodgrass, don't forget about him.
Yeah. I think he's seen his day, but he's still.
Yeah, he's actually retired from international football.
Oh, yeah.
Shame.
Yeah. So Van der Beek, great signing for them. Maybe could have gone a year earlier as well, but decided to stay another year on at Ajax. I guess develop that a bit longer. But yeah, it was a bit strange for me because every time I played career mode, he'd go to Liverpool. And I thought, that'd be a great signing for Liverpool. Now United have gone and signed him. So, yeah.
I think it's another one of those signings United are slowly building towards a team that's going to challenge. I don't think it's going to happen this season. They're not good enough yet, but I think...
Well, I just like the fact that Solskjaer actually has a transfer plan.
No, I definitely agree, yeah. I think it's definitely encouraging, but I'm just saying in terms of them going into this season, I can't seriously see them challenging City and Liverpool, but I think definitely they've got that lock on that third, or actually with Chelsea's transfer window there, that lock for third and fourth, those two, I think they're above Arsenal and Tottenham.
Top 4 is a must for sure.
Yeah.
No, definitely. People were also saying that, just quickly we'll finish up with Van der Beek stuff, but paying for Van der Beek, that means United won't be after Sancho anymore. I don't necessarily think that's true at all. I think United...
how does that have any relevance? Like, they're two completely different players.
Yeah. I think there's still a chance for United to go after Sancho, but I guess those rumours have sort of died down a bit.
Yeah, I think the further we've got along, the less likely it's going to be now.
Yeah, so maybe they'll have to wait another season for that deal to go through. But yeah, we'll move on to Chelsea
Sorry,
then.
just cut out.
Oh, we were just saying that Jadon Sancho, maybe United will have to wait another season for that deal to go through.
I think they will wait another season at this point.
Yeah. Moving on then, we'll
But I
go
do,
to
yeah.
Chelsea and their transfer activity. They've been very busy this season. I don't know how after getting that financial fair play. Was it financial fair play? They got transfer ban. But
But you want to know something interesting though.
yeah,
Their net spend this summer is only about 20 million.
really,
Yeah.
not know that. Well, who have they gotten rid of?
Well, they got rid of Morata, and that was about 50 odd million. And then they what else did they sell? I forget.
Money,
I remember reading this.
Bit of Hazard money, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
And if you add Hazard in from last season, the fact that they spent no money last season and they sold Hazard is a big deal, big reason why they can spend so much this window, I guess.
Yeah, well, they made some great signings. Obviously, Timo Werner, at striker as well. Who else have we got?
Hakim Ziyech.
Ziyech.
All right. Havertz is coming in.
Thiago Silva as well. So
I don't know. I don't know if Thiago Silva will be as good of a signing as people think he will be. Personally,
I think he's better than what they have, though.
yeah, but I think it's a 1-year contract, and I think that's for a good reason.
Yeah, but it's also a free, so it's one of those things where it's low risk.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they've made some great signings, and I don't think it'll quite take them to where Liverpool and Man City are, but it's definitely a step in the right direction for them, showing lots of ambition. I still think they need to address the defence even more, even though they've signed.
Chilwell as well. Did we forget about that?
Chilwell. Yeah.
That's a great signing, but Thiago Silva, it's a 1-year deal, it's a short-term thing. Look at the other centre backs, Rudiger, Christensen. I don't think they're necessarily going to cut it down.
Neither is Zuma.
No, neither is Zuma. The goalkeeper situation as well, which I wanted to touch on a bit. Kepa. Petr Cech came out and said Chelsea is still backing him and are in support of him, but I guess that's sort of
something. Heard that too,
yeah.
Well, apparently Kepa's willing to fight for his number 1 spot.
Yeah, well, they did.
Yeah. Well, he's obviously void of confidence, and he's obviously can be a good player at his best. So I think if he gets back to his best, he's going to be a good player for them. But I was hearing last week that they had already identified that guy from, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Mike Manine, that guy from Lille, Lille's keeper, as a replacement for him.
Okay.
And they still want another couple of signings. They do want a goalkeeper and another centre back possibly, or I know they're definitely still interested in Rice and trying to convert him to a centre back.
Jesus.
Well,
they'll actually have a whole new team by the end of this.
Exactly. It's one of those things, if they do continue to sign players and they sign a goalkeeper like that guy from Lille and then sign a Rice or even some other centre back, and that's a lot of signings and that's a lot of money.
And that's a lot of time that they need to gel as well,
Exactly. It's a lot of expectation. And, all these players, sometimes you can sign too many players. We've seen it with Aston Villa. We've seen it with Fulham. These players are going to need time to gel, and it's going to be interesting to see how they perform. And if all these players, if Werner is the new striker, Ziyech is on the right, Havertz plays Cam, what happens to people like Abraham and Mount? I'm assuming they're good enough players to be playing for most Premier League clubs. I don't think they're going to want to be sitting on the bench.
No, I think
that's.
Did Mason Mount have the most minutes for Chelsea last season as well?
He would have done close to.
Yeah, he played a lot of games, and it was key to his development. And it's sad to see him sitting on the bench after such a great season for him. But
Well, I remember saying when Werner first signed, I was like, if they're not playing two strikers up front, that's incredibly harsh on Tammy Abraham, who in his first season at Chelsea has scored quite a few goals in the Premier League, and if it hadn't been for
Exactly.
the injury, probably would have scored more.
Exactly. And he had a bit of a cold streak towards the back of the season, and Giroud was favoured to him. But I think if you actually switch around, because he was really good at the start of the season, scored a lot of goals. If you switch around that cold streak to the start of the season and the hot streak to be at the end of the season, we'd be talking a bit differently right now about Tammy Abraham, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. Lampard has an incredible. Well, I guess it could be a good problem for him to have with all these players coming in to sort out the team gelling and stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah,
see,
they
I don't know if it necessarily is a good problem to have because I think, if Giroud was favoured to Abraham at the end of last season and Giroud comes into this season as the backup to Werner, Tammy Abraham is going to want out.
yeah, that's
And I don't know, Chelsea may be prepared to, they might be happy with that. They've got their man Werner now and they might think, well, Abraham came through our academy. He's going to get a big profit on him. But
yeah, and who knows? Maybe they'll have someone else to come up through the academy who's going to back Werner up
yeah,
in the future too. But it's just well, like typical Chelsea, well, such great youth players to come through the
yeah.
ranks.
Even players like Tomori, what's he going to do?
I know, yeah. Well, that's a big job for Lampard, as I mentioned before. I don't know how they're going to necessarily sort all that out, but
Mm.
Chelsea definitely improving. Their squad's getting bigger. I think, them and United will be fighting out for that third place spot
Yeah,
in the Premier League.
yeah.
Yeah,
But I think with the amount of money Roman, well, I can't remember his last name. I don't know how to pronounce it. Their guys, Chelsea's guys spent. I think there's so much pressure on Lampard to perform so well. Like they're going to have spent, what, in the 200s, nearly 300 million. Like it's a big deal if Chelsea don't perform as many think they will, and then Lampard comes back next season to Roman and goes, well, I want another 100 million to. We need a centre back. We need this. We need that. And he's going to be like, well, I just spent 300 million for you.
they've got Pulisic as well.
A
Yeah,
trophy is going to be important this season for them. I'm not saying the Premier League, but some type of trophy is going to need to be achieved, I think, for them.
yeah, definitely. I think if that squad goes hard at the Carabao Cup or an FA Cup, I think they
Oh,
win
yeah.
it. There's so
Yeah.
much quality in that Chelsea squad now.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
if you're not playing Mount and Tammy Abraham week in week out, they're going to be playing those Carabao Cup games, those FA Cup games, to get them more game time. So that's definitely a possibility. And then maybe that's something they look to build upon if they do reach those finals and win those finals domestically. But yeah, no, the expectations will be high at Chelsea this season, and
I
will
think
be
they are definitely on the up though.
Yeah.
I think if Kante's fit and back to playing what he has in the past few years, then they're going to be a very dangerous team. They've got Reece James, who's a young fullback coming through. They've got a lot of young players now that it's going to put them in good stead for a few years. I think they're just that one quality centre back away, and depending how Kepa's
Goalkeeper.
playing, a goalkeeper away from being a very dangerous team.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I still definitely think they need a new goalkeeper. I just don't see any way back for Kepa into the squad at the moment. I think the back end of the season, Frank Lampard has definitely shown, benching him and stuff, that he's definitely not part of the plans in the future.
And the thing is, he'd be on pretty high wages that maybe they just want to get him out of there.
That's the thing as
Yeah.
well. You know, who's going to be willing to pay? It's going to be a high transfer fee as well. With a few years remaining,
Yeah.
they may have to stick with him for a
But you
while.
never know. They may sign a keeper and he's the backup this year and he has great performances in cup games and then earns his spot back. You never know.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, no, you never know. But yeah, Chelsea. I guess we'll sort of wrap that talk up a bit there.
I think the rest of the transfer window for them will be interesting because I think if they were to sign a goalkeeper and let's say Declan Rice, then there's a big argument for greatest transfer window ever. I think if we were to look back in that at 10 years and look at this transfer window, depending on how they play, That could be one thing. That could be a transfer window we look back and say one of the greatest ever.
Yeah, we could, like you said, though, depending on how they play, we could
Yeah.
also look back and think the worst
Exactly.
transfer window in
It's
history.
one of those things you need a few years. It needs to play out for a few years, and then you make a decision.
Yeah.
It's like someone's just started a Chelsea career mode on FIFA.
Exactly.
And just gone absolutely all out in the transfer
Let's
window.
say they spend 300 million and they don't win. They don't qualify for Europe or something. That's a disaster.
Yeah. Oh,
It's possible. You've got United and Arsenal. Even
No,
Arsenal.
it's definitely a possibility. If Spurs get back to the way they were playing a couple of years ago, Arsenal is strengthening. It's a possibility.
It is a possibility. I mean, Arsenal in recent form they've shown that there's a definitely more of a plan at the Emirates this season, and they'll be pushing for Champions League spots this season. They just signed Gabriel as well for I think it was 23 million. The defender that they desperately needed to get in. Who else have they? Some of this.
William.
Daniel, you're gonna.
I was just saying, when it comes to Arsenal, I think they are still quite mentally weak. Whereas if something goes wrong for them, and we know how bipolar their fans can be, one bad game and it's all shit. Mentality is going to be a big thing for Arsenal, because if they go a couple games against not such big sides, it could derail their whole season, like we've seen in the past. Like not trusting the manager, not trusting the players, questioning captaincy. It's Arsenal. Arsenal
Yeah.
need to be damn near perfect this season for it to be a good season for them.
I think Arsenal are on the up, and there's a lot of upside for what they've got coming, but they're certainly nowhere near there defensively at the moment. They've got Saliba, who's a 19-year-old, who's hopefully going to be your long-term centre-back in the future, who's going to be a really good player, and Gabriel, who's still only 22 or 23. So you've got two young guys that will hopefully be your centre-back pairing for many years to come, but I don't think either of them are particularly... I think Gabriel's a good player, but I don't think either of them are good enough to fix Arsenal.
No, well, I was listening to something that was saying that, as Daniel was mentioning, the supporters can really turn on Arsenal if something goes bad, and they turn really quickly. But I guess with no fans with COVID and stuff, maybe at the Emirates when they're playing, and Arteta's trying to teach them, how to play out from the back and all that sort of passing, technique and possession-based football. It could be a good thing for them that they don't have the fans on their back when they're trying to play out from the back, and they may make a few mistakes and may cost a few points here and there. So maybe it'll be good that there's no supporters for them to.
I think Arsenal also need to invest in another holding midfielder, a good holding midfielder, because you've got Torreira and Xhaka who really haven't been. They've been okay, but they haven't been the next level player you need.
They haven't had that sort of spine in defensive midfield for very long time.
I think
El Nani's back.
I think Arsenal could do with going out and signing a player like Rice or another defensive midfielder out there that's going to be the lock in there for the next...
Matic, maybe.
I don't think so. I think at Matic's age, he's a bit past it.
Yeah.
I think if you're bringing Matic in, you're bringing another sort of Xhaka in.
Yeah, exactly.
Similar quality player.
No, true. They definitely...
Maybe a Kante if Chelsea move him on. They're thinking about moving him on.
That would go through, but...
Arsenal's just becoming a Chelsea graveyard.
Kante. That would be quite interesting. But, any other word on Arsenal and their progress in the transfer window?
I prefer not to speak.
I have nothing to say.
I have nothing to say.
No, not really. I think they've improved, but they haven't improved enough to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still probably have them sitting outside the top four.
They're an outside the top four, but...
Yeah. If their defence starts playing well, they're definitely a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we haven't even mentioned Leicester in going for the top four yet, but I guess that's something else for another podcast. We can do that another time. But that's all the topics for today. Did you guys want to cover anything before we go into our football jersey quick?
Maybe just a quick mention on Spurs signing Doherty for 14.7 million or whatever it is, because I think that was a very astute signing.
Oh yeah, it's a
They've
great
had,
signing.
yeah, Højbjerg as well, and a couple of astute signings that maybe will strengthen them.
I think they've needed a right back, really. They haven't been, Oria hasn't been really up to it. Can't even
No.
think of who else they've been playing there, but they lost Walker Peters to Southampton. And Doherty for 15 million, that's ridiculously cheap. That's
Yeah,
I don't understand why Wolves let him go for so little. And that's a massive loss for
Yeah, I
Wolves, in my opinion.
yeah. For
yeah,
what
because
direction
what
now in Europa League spot fighting?
Mm.
because I was saying if United were going to let go of Lingard, the most I was hoping for was about 15. So like you said, the fact that they're getting Doherty for 15 is a real bargain.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, well said. And yeah, I guess we'll finish up the main talking points there. We'll move on to our last point today, which is if we had to wear a football jersey for the rest of our lives, you couldn't wear anything else besides shorts, jeans, whatever, to cover up the rest of your body. But if you had to wear a football shirt for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
I mean,
Consideration the weather as well, all events you'd have to go to, like weddings and all this sort of stuff you
oh
need.
Jesus.
I actually want to look mine up because I can't remember what exact season it was from.
There is a tuxedo kit, I know that much, but I think you'd want something with a collar, wouldn't you?
Yeah, so yeah, you can allow to wear a tie with the collar or a tuxedo or a bow tie, I should say.
I,
I
I mean,
I was thinking Liverpool.
taking biases away. Oh, sorry, yeah, go.
I was going to say Liverpool 06, 07 or 07/08, the red, well, obviously the red home kit, the Adidas kit with the collar. It's a nice one.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm looking at United with a collar and what would actually work, maybe 13, 14, not a great season, but black collar, smart, red. Um, but if I'm looking at all clubs, maybe Chelsea's white away kit with the collar was quite nice. Pretty plain, but just a tidy kit.
I'm going
And we
for
get
West Ham's third kit in 17-18. It was a sky blue, sort of light blue with a collar, and it was pretty simple, a nice collar. I really liked it at the time.
Would it be
yeah.
wedding attire?
Well, it would be pretty close to wedding attire considering you're wearing a football jersey.
No.
It wouldn't be wedding attire, no, but if you're getting a football jersey that's close to it, that's what I would go for.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm talking from strictly fashion standpoint, I think Nike had some great away kits this season with like Roma and Barcelona, very tidy, and I wouldn't mind wearing those about. But for wedding, probably not.
No. No. Well, if it's cold outside as well, I'd have to go for the long sleeve jersey as well with the collar.
I wouldn't like a long sleeve jersey with a collar. That looks silly, I think.
No?
Like a skin tight jersey with a collar, I just can't see it looking good.
Yeah, maybe.
Just don't get it skin tight then.
Yeah, true, but
Yeah.
if it's too loose, it also looks silly. Actually, speaking about kits, what do you think of? I never asked you. What do you think of the Liverpool away kit, Jeremy?
It's bold. It's definitely out there.
When
I
did
mean,
they release it?
like a few
It
couple of weeks.
almost looks Aboriginal.
Yeah, you're talking about the turquoise one?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't mind the design. I think that if we win the league title,
Oh
if we
Jesus!
I
It's gonna
don't, I don't, I don't think I'm a fan, to be honest. I quite like the
I
home kit.
am.
Everyone says that toothpaste. I don't think it looks like toothpaste. I think it looks nice, those colours, but
like the
I
home kit.
that away kit, it's just not Liverpool. I know with your away kit, you have a bit more right to change up the colour and do something a bit different, but still, this was too different for me.
It was a white
I
kit. We have no idea what to expect the last few seasons. We've had the purple. We've had when Warrior with us. We had the what was it? The red, black, and I think there's also purple running down the center of the jersey, which I actually didn't mind. But
Guys, before you start talking crap about Liverpool's away kit, just please hold off until United release their third kit because that could be absolutely spectacular when that comes out. I don't know if you've
Oh,
seen
well,
the designs
United's
for it. It's
Alright.
green
that
kit. I
black
don't
and
like that
white,
either.
the black and white shit. Have you
Um,
seen that online?
glitter,
I
like
haven't seen it. West Ham released theirs the other day. They've gone with black and gold.
No, if you get a chance, Google United's third kit leak, and it's
Horrendous.
pretty bad. Oh yeah.
Well, I think the away kit's horrendous as well for United.
Is it? I mean, for me, it's like when it's on the pitch on TV, it's probably not gonna look that bad. It's just gonna look like a gray kit. Same with the home kit, like the home kit in red and white, sort of patterns. TV, you're not really gonna notice it. So it's more if you're gonna wear it, but the third kit is gonna be awful.
Well, I'm intrigued to find out. Fulham hasn't even released a home kit yet, I believe.
like
They
2
haven't
weeks.
released any kits, and we're 10 days out from the Premier League, which will be interesting to see when they release that.
Well, I guess shirt sales have become.
Or I mean, they may have. They may have released it in the last couple of days. I haven't checked, but
Yeah, no,
as far as
interesting.
I'm aware, they've been leaving it very late.
I think was it Norwich released the kit and it looked like it was someone mixed tomato sauce with mustard. It was just it's ugly. It was like red
Oh,
and
was that
Here you
West
go.
Brom? I
Here
think
you
that
guys
was West
go.
Brom.
West Brom, yeah.
Ooh.
He looked like a zebra.
It is a zebra, but I
know.
don't mind it. I don't think it looks horrible.
Oh,
I think I would actually
man.
prefer that to the away kit.
Well, this was the original design, and that looks even worse.
Yeah, okay, that's I don't rate that.
So we'll see. But yeah, no, I'm not on it. But also, yeah, Liverpool's away kit is not great either. The home kit I get because your badge has like the green and the white and the red, so it makes sense. But it's not like top 5 for me in kits.
No.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Maybe we could go into rate the Premier League home kits next podcast or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
As well as
Yeah,
come with
exactly.
our. We'll have to come with our tables next week. Our season predictions table.
Oh Jesus!
So get working on that, boys.
I think the only thing I'll get remotely close is first and second.
Yeah.
Liverpool, Man City, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That order. Hopefully.
No.
It'll be tighter next season in terms of the title race, but that's a conversation for the next podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for joining us. So I guess we'll wrap it up there. If you made it this far, congratulations.
We've got our season preview and predictions to look forward to, and maybe a look at the rest of the home kit. So make sure you tune into our next one.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think the channel we're going to be looking to obviously upload the weekly podcast, but maybe have another couple of videos here and there throughout the week, just updating you guys on transfers and whatnot, that sort of thing. But hopefully this podcast will be our first one on Apple Podcasts and maybe Spotify and get it up on those more podcast platforms. But we'll be uploading to our YouTube and please subscribe.
Show us some support. Share it amongst people, you know.
And everything, all good stuff. And just show us some love. And we'll really appreciate it. Thanks for joining us, Daniel and Elliot. We'll see you guys next week.
We'll catch you next week for our big predictions. I'm keen.
Let's do it.
Yep.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
See ya.